The people building artificial intelligence are openly terrified. They call it a civilization-ending threat, yet they race to deploy it as fast as possible. Look at Elon Musk. He warned the public that AI is more dangerous than nuclear weapons and begged for a pause in development. Then, driven by competitive panic, he started his own AI company. Meanwhile, we celebrate the fines. We focus on the sheer processing power and the speed of these new tools, rarely pausing to identify their underlying purpose. Adopting this technology without a clear objective leads to a slow descent into service. We become the hands and feet of a system we no longer control. To understand how to regain control, we have to look at an old story. In the Arthurian legend of the Holy Grail, the chalice is the ultimate piece of technology, an object that generates endless abundance. But the myth has a strict rule. Finding the Grail is not enough to heal a broken kingdom. The knight who discovers it is required to ask one specific question: whom does the Grail serve? Today's tech leaders are like knights obsessed with the quest. They have found the artificial intelligence Grail, but almost no one is stopping to ask who it actually serves. Adopting a chatbot like ChatGPT without establishing that standard of service results in a surrender of human agency. This flowchart illustrates the Moloch Trap, a systemic escalation cycle forcing tech leaders to build systems they openly fear. Driven by fear that rivals or foreign nations will beat them, developers deploy dangerous AI just to stay in the race. In this rush to maintain power, competitors sacrifice jobs, their water, their energy, and even children's minds. The drive to win the competition becomes more important than the survival of the things we are competing for. The cycle has accelerated past human control. Even if creators wanted to pull the plug, market momentum makes it impossible. Because the system cannot regulate itself at the macro level, the existential risk transfers to our individual choices. The danger comes down to how you and I choose to interact with the screen. When we consume artificial intelligence thoughtlessly, we risk becoming completely dependent on it, vassals to our software. Media theorist Marshall McLuhan saw this coming in the 1960s. He warned humans risk being reduced to merely the reproductive organs of the machine. This line graph tracks cognitive test scores over time. After decades of steady growth, we are now seeing the reverse Flynn effect, a documented dip in scores across younger, digitally saturated generations. Relying on a chatbot for your core thinking effectively exports the mind's internal functions to an external server. This convenience causes a slow, irreversible erosion of our own ability to think independently. Artificial intelligence is here to stay, and escapist fantasies like moving to Mars or implanting computer chips in our brains will not fix the damage to our focus. Maintaining agency requires a different engagement strategy. This layout separates our choices into two states. The core rule is to avoid using AI to replace foundational memory or human skill. When you rely on a machine to generate your core thoughts, the tool serves itself, and you become a provider of data rather than a creator of ideas. To remain in the master state, you must ensure your internal foundations of wisdom and knowledge are strong enough to strictly direct the machine's output. Maintaining control over AI has nothing to do with writing better software prompts. It requires an internal human strength that a machine cannot replicate. The only real solution is personal. If AI pushes memory and skill into the cloud, we must intentionally pull them back into the physical self. This involves returning to analog pursuits, reading printed books, learning tangible skills, camping, and engaging locally. These pursuits require the sustained attention and internal effort that digital platforms disrupt. They build the cognitive barrier needed to resist digital erosion. By aggressively becoming more fully human, we ensure our own agency. When we finally face the modern grail of artificial intelligence, we will possess the presence of mind to demand, whom does this serve?